Hello everyone, welcome to Sports Talk. I am your host Logan Nizer, and today we will be covering the finals matchup between the Warriors of the Celtics. More specifically, I will give you my opinion on who is going to win. I will break down their journey to the NBA Finals and, break down each player's roster, how they did overall in the season, and again, I will give you my opinion on who I think will win. So, and huge alert, I am a huge Celtics fan, so I will be rooting for them in this final series, but that does not influence and does not make me biased towards who I pick as the NBA Finals winner. Now, let's break down the Warriors first. The Warriors had a pretty good season, especially once the return of Klay Thompson. But before Klay Thompson, you had Jordan Poole, who improved tremendously throughout the season and really kind of stepped in to fill the role of the missing Klay Thompson. And when Klay Thompson came back, it just made the Warriors even better. You had Steph Curry going crazy like he normally does, breaking the three-point record this season and almost made threes by one player in an NBA career. So that's one thing. Two, you had Jordan Poole becoming like the third splash bro. So you got three people who can really shoot the three on the Warriors. Then you got Andrew Wiggins, who is playing around like a third option and is doing amazing. He even made it as an all-star starter. That's how well Andrew Wiggins was doing in this season. And again, since he's not the first option through Steph Curry, he's not the second option through like Klay or Draymond, he's kind of like the third option. He's not going to have the best defender on him, so that allows him to do his thing. Also, as we have seen within these playoffs, Kevin Looney has stepped up and has been a solid player since James Wiseman is out. And they also have, Jordan Poole coming off the bench. And he's, again, I just talked about Jordan Poole, but, he's doing his thing. Then you have Draymond Green being Draymond Green, getting rebounds, getting assists, being a defensive monster. This Warriors team is a solid team, and I actually underrated them during the season. I didn't expect them going to the finals, but they have most definitely shut me up. I can't say anything. They've gone a total, I think it is about 12-4 so far. They had 2-4-1 series. And then they had 1-4-2 series against, that 4-2 was against the Grizzlies. Now, I definitely think the Warriors deserve the hype that they got, because look what they have done. Now, you could make arguments, the Nuggets were missing Jamal Murray. Jokic needed more help. You can make the argument that the Grizzlies could have done better if Ja Morant didn't get injured, but they actually won a game without Ja Morant against the Warriors pretty decently. But, and then they even stopped the Dallas Mavericks, who dominated the Jazz and shut down the number one 64-win team. And then the Warriors shut them down 4-1. They were up 3-0. Mavericks won one game, and then they just shut that stuff down. So the Warriors, you could make an argument that they had a bit of an easy path, but still, the sheer dominance that we see, and they were able to beat really good teams. You could try to downplay it, but really, you got to give the Warriors credits for what they've done, both in the season and in the playoffs. So they definitely earned their spot in the finals. Now let's look at the Celtics and their journey. Originally, the Celtics they didn't start off hot. And so eventually, around halfway, right after the All-Star break, the Celtics started going crazy. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Marcus Smart started clicking. You had Al Horford doing his thing at power forward. Robert Williams the third being a solid center. So that starting lineup was already really freaking good. Then Grant Williams started producing. He started doing really well. And so you had the Celtics just start clicking and coming together. Then comes the playoffs. You have the Nets, who were favored to go to the championship originally, right? A lot of people had Nets versus Lakers. Even I had the Nets going to the championship. And actually, this year, I had the Suns winning it. But obviously, they lost to the Mavericks in the quarterfinals. So the Nets were hyped up. They had Kyrie, KD, Goran Dragic, Patty Mills, Andre Drummond, Blake Griffin, Bruce Brown, Joe Harris. They had all these people. And the Celtics swept them. They swept them. They went 4-0, which is something I don't think you should overlook, but don't hype it up too much, because the Nets were missing Ben Simmons. Now, a lot of people are probably going to be like, Dad, I don't know how much that would have changed it, but even though Ben Simmons gets a lot of hate because he, didn't shoot like he should have been in the playoff series and was passing too much, he still is a lockdown defender. He's been on defensive teams. He's known for his defense. He's got good playmaking. He can score. May not be the greatest scorer, but still, the Nets, they not worried about scoring. They needed that defensive anchor. And Ben Simmons, I think, is a piece that fits perfectly. But anyways, back to the topic at hand. The Celtics crushed them, went 4-0. Then they faced the Bucks in the quarterfinals. Or I'm probably getting it wrong, but in the second round of the playoffs, basically, they faced the Bucks, and they were the defending champions. And yeah, they were missing Chris Middleton, but still, Giannis, Drew Holiday. You also had Grayson Allen. You had Bobby Portis going crazy. You had Brooke Lopez. The Bucks had a solid roster, and they took the Celtics to 7 games, but the Celtics managed to win it out. It's just, I think that chemistry is finally starting to click together. You have Marcus Smart, who was the Defensive Player of the Year, and he can lock up most point guards in the league. Then you have Jaylen Brown, who's a solid shooter, solid scorer, and has a high IQ. Jason Tatum, we know who Jason Tatum is. He's got nasty sidestep, step back. He can create space when he wants to, drive to the lane, dunk it. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum is a great duo for scoring. Then you have Al Horford, who steps up when is needed, gets solid rebounds, can score, is a good big man in general, was able to play decently against Giannis. Giannis still went crazy, but he was able to give Giannis a bit of a rough time. Then you have Robert Williams III, who is a great defender. I think he's a little bit underrated, actually, because a lot of people don't give him credit for his good defensive ability. He scores when it's necessary. Overall, Celtics have a solid lineup. And then Grant Williams coming off the bench. And then you also have Derek White. You have Grant Williams and Derek White coming off the bench, scoring when necessary, playing their roles. The Celtics have a solid young squad. And, they were able to beat the Bucks. And then they were able to beat the one-seeded Heat. Now, as a Celtics fan, I was rooting for them, but I had doubt. Originally, they were close with the Heat, and then Kyle Lowry returned. In that first game Kyle Lowry returned, he ended up winning. They went on a tear, and the Celtics couldn't score much in that first quarter. But the Celtics were able to drive it out, get a 3-2 lead. Jimmy Butler went crazy in Game 6. And then the Celtics were able to close it out in Game 7 thanks to a strong start. And were able to just barely win. So when you look at these two teams, the road that it took for them to get to, the finals, it seems like the Warriors had a much easier path. They had a much easier time dealing with teams. They were able to shut them down easier. They were able to frustrate the star players on each one of the teams that they faced. And that's, Jokic, Ja, and Doncic. While the Celtics they had success with the Nets, with Jason Tatum being able to get a little in Kevin Durant's head. They had a little bit rougher time with Giannis, and then they had still a hard time with Jimmy Butler. The question is, can the Warriors, what strategy will succeed? Will the Warriors be able to hold Jason Tatum to little points and force Jaylen Brown to step up? Will Marcus Smart be able to lock up, force Curry to have a harder time scoring? The Celtics have probably the best, they have the best defensive team right now in the league. So the question is, will the Warriors offense be too much? Because they have multiple options. You have Steph, Clay, Andrew Wiggins. You have Jordan Poole. Draymond can score decently. Kevin Looney's gotten himself some buckets. Or will the Celtics defense be enough to handle the Warriors? And will they be able to edge them out offensively? Will the Celtics' offensive abilities be able to be enough combined with their defense? Overall, I think this will go to a Game 7. I think it will be a close one. Now, it may follow the pattern. There may be a blowout game. But I believe that the Celtics in 7 will win. And my reasoning is they're starting to really, really click. Both teams are, but Celtics are better defensively. You have the Defensive Player of the Year, Marcus Smart. They're able to handle and rattle star players a bit. I feel like the Celtics have a better post presence. You have both Al Horford and Robert Williams. Then I feel like if Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum start clicking, that will be a little too much. But again, I think this will be a close series. I just think the Celtics are better, a little bit better overall, and I think that they will have the better strategy coming into this to handle the Warriors. Thank y'all for watching Sports Talk. I am your host, Logan Iser, and I will see y'all next time on the most recent sports news.